All right, so now we are working on uh, being able to name or identify things that are sitting on a plane, on a flat surface. We're going to start with flat surface, then we're going to go to two flat surfaces, then we're going to go to three flat surfaces, but we're going to start the first one in a one plane. This particular example is plane pi. So I don't really like that being named plane pi, but I didn't write the problem. Technically, we usually use capital letters and the word plane next to it, or we use script. I don't know if you guys even know what script is anymore, but basically a script letter used to show planes, but we use pi. So to better understand what's going on here, I made a model. It's kind of crude, kind of lame, but I wanted to kind of show you what is going on. So you can see, oops, that two of the lines are sitting on this cardboard piece or on the plane, and then we have this other line that's passing through the plane. Like you can see it. I wish this was glass because then you could see the lines through the plane, which would be kind of cool. But anyway, the idea is that you've got one line that's passing through and two lines that are sitting on the plane. And if you notice that on the picture that's on your screen, the dotted line is supposed to show part of the line that you can't see because the plane is blocking it, so you can't see it. And anytime you see dotted lines like that in everything we do in geometry, especially when we get to 3D shapes, it just means if you're staring at it in a certain direction, you're not going to see those. I mean, the human eye cannot see all the way around a 3D object. We can see, certain sides of it, but we can't see all of it unless it was a glass box. And also, it helps, believe it or not, it helps with the eyes. It really does when you get to 3D objects. If you don't have it dotted like that, then the shape starts popping out in different directions and it really plays with your mind. But anyway, so I'm kind of getting off subject here, so let me get back on. All right, so this is what it looks like, just so you get kind of an idea. There's, you can see W's right where I stuck the line through, and then Y's below it because you can't really see it, and then K's sitting there at the top. And again, these are lines, so this wooden stick that you see should really go on forever, but obviously I can't make it go on forever. So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to put this down so I have my hands free, but that's hopefully you get an idea. You get an idea, let me show it again, of what this thing looks like, just so you get an idea. I'm going to put it down. All right, so let's talk about naming things. So we've got to work on how to name things. So here I am sitting on a plane, and I want to make sure I have my writing tool on. I'm going to have to name 3 line segments. Well, if you've been practicing, or I should say after you've been learning about line segments, you know all that line segments are pieces of line. Literally a line that has 2 endpoints. Beginning and an end. It's a piece of a line, basically. So I have so many choices here, and I only have to name 3. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'll just pick KW as one of them. That's the initials of my wife, so I pick that. And again, line segments, we put a little line, that's ugly. But anyway, you have a line symbol over the top, and then that shows line. If you put arrow tips on it, that's a line. Line segments don't have arrow tips. All right, so let me do KW. Let me do HN just for fun. I have to name 3. QZ. You really can't go wrong with naming 3 line segments. The trick on it is to make sure that they are truly connected to each other, and you're using the line segment symbol. That's pretty much the key on this one. All right, name the intersection of the plane and the line KY. All right, so the plane again is that flat surface, and that KY line, and again I wouldn't even use this, just as a side thing. this is kind of redundant because this literally says line KY. So if you have the line symbol KY on here, you do not need the word line. That's kind of redundant. So that's why I'm scratching this out. Again, I didn't write this. I'm just using it. All right. So again, it's that wooden dowel that you saw in my model that's passing through, and the question is where does it hit? Where does that wooden or where does that line hit my plane? Well, you can see it hits it at W. All right, so when a line and a plane intersect, they intersect at point W. Now, here's a kind of a side question to ask you. What other ways can you intersect a plane with a line? Now, I'll give you a hint. There's a reason why they drew what they drew here. Because they can either intersect at a point where the line is passing through it, or if the line is actually sitting on the plane, it's laying on the plane, like laying on your tabletop. If that's true, then the answer to that question would be the whole line. So if this question was name the intersection of plane pi and QZ, say for instance, this guy right here, the answer would be line QZ. The whole line would be the answer because it's the whole line is intersecting the plane. It's laying on the plane. All right. That's just a side thing. In case you have that question, like, you never know. All right. It says name two opposite rays at point H. Now, there's a couple of different answers. You can do this. But again, opposite rays. Remember that when you are doing rays, we always write our rays from left to right because that's how we read. Even if the physical ray is going in a different direction, we write it left to right because that's how we read. And since both of these opposite rays, in order for something to be opposite rays, they must have the same starting point, or what's called an initial point. So H has to be the initial point. So both of these guys have to have H's starting out because that's their starting point. That's their end point. That's because a ray, remember, only has one end point and then it goes on forever. So one end point. Now we just name another point that it passes through. So let's say I pick HN. If I pick HN, the one opposite of it is HB. So you could have this, I want to put an and sign here, or you could have, again, these H's, and we go these two. So we would do HZ and HQ. So there's actually two separate answers, or I should say two answers to this. You only have to name two. I named the two pairs, so I should get bonus points. I'm not sure if I should get bonus points for not following directions, but oh well. Okay, so the last question I have here is it says name the intersection of line BN, so that's this guy here, and QZ. I wonder what it could be. All right, wow. Wow, I really need to practice. Anyway, these are the two lines. Well, where do these two lines intersect? They intersect, stop doing that, right there at H. So the answer to that would be H. And you do not have to put point H because, again, a letter by itself means a point. And all right, so that's it for this type of problem with one plane, intersections with one plane. There are future lessons where you're going to do two planes or even more planes, and that's coming up next.